today will be covering the case study of Rita in Mission I Am Possible. This is an occupational history of who Rita is. She's 35 years of age and she is a lecturer that will be joining the cohort this academic year. 5 years ago she was diagnosed with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis. So the aim of this presentation is to explore how Rita will access the new facilities within the building and the journeys that she'll often have to navigate to get around, and to also expose the pros and cons found along the way. So what we know about Rita is that she becomes fatigued with prolonged excursion, now uses a powered wheelchair for mobilising long distances. She can manage at short distances up to 20 metres on foot with a walking stick or suitable handrails. She transfers on and off a wheelchair independently, and Rita also has a manual wheelchair for shorter distances and for locations that a powered wheelchair may not be able to go. However, her preference is a powered wheelchair. Secondary multiple sclerosis. People who have SBMS experience a gradual steady change in their ability to do things over time, and this is just some information.
Rita's journey we analyze is from the 2E06B on the second floor to the 1F03 on the first floor, and she will depart from the 2E06B, and as you can see in the picture, it's a wide door, and pass to the corridor and to the lift. And here you can see that there is a narrow door. And after that, she will take the lift to the ground floor, to the first floor, and there are some narrow space for her. And also, across the corridor, she will arrive to the 1F03. And for the more measurements, my classmate will discuss more in detail.
So for the pros, both entrances for both classrooms are wide. So it's easy for Rita to enter because she has MS and she usually mobilizes with wheelchair, and it's also convenient as well. And there are some automatic doors in some areas, so also 1F03 there is one. Also the floor is smooth, so it's easy to use wheelchair. The lecturing desk height is adjustable, so it's easy for Rita to teach. And handrails in some doors, and also there are alarm in bathroom if Rita is needed. For the cons, it can be hard for Rita to go around as well, especially around the elevator because there is only limited space, and it can also increase the risk of accidents because they're so small. Also, there's like a step in front of the 1F03, so it can increase difficulty for Rita to enter. Doors are heavy because they are like fire doors, and in elevator there is like a speaker, but it's quite high, so it can be quite hard for Rita to reach if she needs that. Further points will be extended by my colleagues. Thank you.
For the experience for the whole journey, for the second floor, the corridor is quite wide, easy to mobilize and turn around, and size clear. You can find your toilet and room easily. The access to toilet is quite obvious, and you can get in or out. It's quite difficult to get in because you need U-tools to open the door, which you have to manage while you're moving a wheelchair. It's emergency alarm inside the toilet, but it takes time for someone to help. It takes around 5 minutes for security to arrive where you test it. For the elevator, when you get out, you need to pass by the automatic door. It's quite hard to open because it's quite difficult. You didn't have enough time and space to get through, and there's some potential hazard. You may fall while you're opening the door, and it's too heavy to handle by yourself. And the door frame is very narrow to get through, but it's just reachable distance for you to get through for the inside of the elevator. There's narrow space to turn around. The automatic door between the stairs and elevator needs extra space and time to pass by, and there's no other space for others to pass by also, so others need to wait. And it's not a modern elevator. It doesn't have enough space and safety facility inside the elevator, and it doesn't have any motion sensor, instruction line, and voice guiding inside, so it's maybe a little bit difficult for the surface user. And it's difficult to get in. You need to spend extra time and adjust power direction to the elevator. And the emergency button and speaker is not in a reasonable position. So for the 1F03, when you get there, the slope is quite difficult to climb, and the corridor is so narrow, and there's a step ahead from the door, and the door is heavy, so you may fall down while you're opening doors. And there is also assistance needed to help you to get upstairs and get downstairs and rest your wheelchair. And while you are holding a walking frame, it's so hard to handle at the same time. So it is quite difficult to get in, especially on the ground floor.
According to the building regulations in 2021, there are some dimensions and measurements that worth mentioning. In the ground floor, the width of the doors and the corridor does not pose an issue because all of them are built according to regulations. There are no localized obstructions like radiators according to the regulations, which only happens in the first floor. In the ground floor, the only concern would be the landing zone in the lift, in front of the lift, which is 143 centimeters in depth, which in the regulations are required to have 1500 millimeters in depth. In second floor, the radiator does not pose a problem because the width of corridor is wide enough in over 182 centimeters. Does not cause any problem in according to the regulations. The accessible toilets are well planned to have a clear space to access according, which only requires a 750 millimeters, and as seen here, they have over 2 meters of space to access.
Possible interventions. We thought of changing the manual doors into automatic doors that have buttons to grant easier access. And for the steps at 1F03, we agreed that Rita would not be able to bring the wheelchair into the classroom in the bench pandemic. Someone has to help her. And the slope would not be beneficial due to the lack of space and the need to push the door. A lift step would be blocking the corridor, and a portable one would still require a person to carry it in order to free the roll. We thought of lowering the level of the classroom to remove the uneven ground, but it is not applicable because the building is listed. For the lift, the elevator door closing time should be flexible. We recommend adding sensors to the door of the lift to prevent closing on to the person in use. And for the emergency button, we recommend placing the button and mic lower and right beside the level buttons.
Right, now for the second part of the presentation, we're going to look at the accessibility of the presentation itself. We took some criteria for the Webby Award winners, which you can find on the website that we left in here. There are 5 vital criteria, so I'm going to go through each of them more in depth in the next slides. Starting for the content should be engaging and relevant to the audience, so everybody can keep up and understand what we're talking about. For that, there should be a balance between the amount of information we give into the audience, and very, very important to use plain language day to day, so everybody can keep engaged and understand. If there is something that somebody don't understand, description should be added. In terms of a structure, it's very important so everybody can follow. There is a clear introduction, some clear points through the body, and a conclusive end of the presentation. The slide should be presented in chronological order to make it understandable, and it's very important to take in account the pace of the speech. It's not always the slide that we should be focused on, but the speaker is what is make the presentation accessible in many ways. In terms of visual design, there are some criteria that need to be followed, like using alternative text, descriptive text on every image, have a clear layout, and every slide should have a title. Instead of the font, like you can see here, there are a few things that we should avoid, like bright colors and italics. It should be at a minimum of 18, and we should avoid conveying information through the use of color itself. How we make it functional. So using closed captions, subtitles, and the size, we can make it to adjustable speed, read aloud, meaningful hyperlink text that everybody can link, possibility of having language translation, and it should, we offer also another format of PDF which can be printed if you can look at the screen for too long. How we made it interactive is making to a YouTube link, so that will be able to give it to everybody in the audience, and they can interact with it by customizing, like using functions like we mentioned before, changing the speed or the subtitles or even the language. So this provides digital accessibility to everybody for all presentation. And as an overall experience, what we aim in this presentation is to reach the broad dynamic audience. so everybody in looking at our presentation can process the information, and it can be all type of neurodiversity, such as ADHD, dyslexia, or people with visual and hearing impairment. Also, as I said, considering people with English as a second language should be the aim of this presentation.